So I wanted to share some of the things I've been working on in Scrap Mechanic lately, and I've got quite a few builds now that I haven't published. In the past, I've had some builds I do publish, and then they get re-uploaded by other people, and then I never get credited for it. So kind of decided to stop uploading on Scrap Mechanic for a while. But either way, I've kind of gotten to a point where I've got a lot of builds that haven't really gotten to see a whole lot of attention when I really think they deserve to, because I've spent a lot of time on this game, and I'm more focused on building piston engines and piston engine vehicles, and I just want to share a few of my builds and show what I've been doing, because I truly believe that in the scrap mechanic community that people aren't using piston engines to their fullest extent. They're more of just a neat thing, but everything that I do is piston engine related, and I've always found that the piston engines are actually really interesting to me just because I am mechanically inclined, and this is something that kind of revolves around what I do. So, um, I mean, here's two vehicles I've been working on. This is my latest projects. Um, as far as I've known, I've never seen anybody else do anything of what I'm doing on Scrap Mechanic to this extent. So I think this is the only instance of what people have seen as far as how far you can take piston engines. Obviously, there's limitations like speed and stuff. So, anyways, I got two variants of a truck right here. This one's single cab, crew cab, um, and they're both piston powered. This one's two-wheel drive. That one's four-wheel drive. And just to shake things up, I like to change a lot of the features, such as the size of the truck. So this one's shorter, that one's longer. This one's got independent suspension on the front, solid axle rear. This one is solid axle front and rear, and it's quite badass. It's really neat. So, and they've both got the same motors I've been building inside of them. I've found that the pistons are actually very strong, and you don't really need too many of them in a vehicle to make it powerful. So four is plenty for me. I've built other engines with more, and four is kind of the sweet spot. And I'll show you later on. There are other engines I made that are much, much more powerful. But I use the V4 just for compact. Just because, I mean, this whole vehicle and these together, they're a platform. And over here, I'll show. I'll drive these in a second, but this is the chassis. Essentially, this is the two-wheel drive one, so it's just independent front, and it just kind of shows you how the engine sits inside, and it sits and so in real life I am a mechanic, so I get to look at these things all day, and when I'm working on this game, everything kind of has to be in its place. Like I know where things belong, and if it doesn't sit right, then I have to change it. So as far as frames go and engines and chassis and stuff, this is pretty much ideal to what they are in real life. So, and I try to stick to it like that. So, and yeah, so it's pretty neat. The rear suspension's not just some of the simple stuff that you see. It's got two joints up top and bottom, so the spring can move in all directions freely as it wants, which means the suspension requires a track bar to locate the rear axle. So every component on this vehicle has a purpose and a reason for it. Another small details like that matter to me are like the U joints. Are they phased? Are they out of phase? And what I mean by that is just that C little clamp there is in the same orientation as this little U joint right here. So um, the little details matter to me, and that's why I take these builds a little further than I think anyone else has. So, anyways, I built a little demonstration to show how the suspension works. Um, Obviously, front's independent, the cycle up and down, and then the rear has full mobility to articulate as it needs to. And one thing I've noticed when I'm building these vehicles is the the 2 block high shocks seem to have less of a suspension glitch or lag than the longer shocks do. And I have used longer shocks on other vehicles, but they tend to cause problems. Either they lag or they just phase out of where they need to be, like in their orientation. And that's another thing. Like back here, usually I don't do this. The spring is when you have like a joint, two joints like this. When you put a bearing right above the shock, it seems to want to walk outwards. It's kind of weird. You may not understand what I'm saying, but that's why over here on the front, it's less glitchy because the shock has a space between the bearing. And for some reason, if you can just separate that one space, I would put one on the top if I could, if I had more space, but I just have to do with what I got. So preferably one block between this shock would be fine. But otherwise, if I wanted more suspension travel, I would put the three block spring right here, and then you'd get a lot more travel. But when you compare to cars in real life, honestly, cars don't have that much suspension. So like the one block in this game is probably equivalent to what real cars have. Because if you think about it, when you lift a car in the air, you can probably have about half a foot to a foot maybe of a drop that the suspension has. And in this game, a block is plenty. So for realism and what fits the vehicles, it's one block is usually what's fine. And for this car, because it's not as sitting high as this one, of course, I've cut out the fenders and stuff, so the wheel can tuck up into the top if I need to. And this vehicle is fully adjustable in ride height, so I can actually lower it and raise it just by adjusting that bearing there, and then the back one back here. It's got the same exact style. But anyways, or before I drive it, here's another example of what people are building in the community. I built this, but some people are building other engines that have the same design. When I make my engine, this is what my current engine looks like when it's pulled out of the car. You can turn it on and it runs. It's on the slowest setting right now. It's just for easy of seeing. And um, the one thing when I was designing these engines is smoothness. It very matters a lot is how smooth the engine runs. If it jitters, it really messes up the drivability of the vehicle, where it's always torquing itself over. One of the problems I'm having with cars right now, and you'll see, is when you gas on the cars, they have so much torque, it twists the whole chassis, so the suspension can't really do what it needs to. Um, and then like a real car, in a real car, engines don't really stop when you're at a light or something. When you stop moving, the engine still runs, and that's how I wanted to make this. So I put a transmission that I designed that has forward and reverse. The reverse is achieved by uh, using another gear by the crankshaft. When you put a gear next to another gear and then another gear, it's kind of like a differential. When you spin one tire, the other tire will spin the other way, and then so there's a set of pistons here and then here. The one that's altered direction is obviously reverse, and the one's coming off the crank is for forward. And then I've got a little, I guess you could call it a clutch. But either way, this one will move back to engage with the output, and then this one will move forward to engage with it. And that's how I get forward and reverse in my vehicles, and it seems to work really well without any lag. And what's neat about this too is the engine uses when I build vehicles, I try to limit how many bearings I use. That way I can increase the complexity of these builds. So like this engine right here, only 17 bearings, which is very good compared to what other people are doing. I use my bearings very carefully. I don't double up on areas where I don't have to. So it's pretty much perfect. I haven't seen anyone make any other engines that run it this good at all. So here's another one. This one's more like what other people are doing. I still use my transmission in the back, but I thought that maybe it'd be simpler to reduce I don't know, the reverse gear because it's a collision. So if I remove that, then maybe it might be less lag. But I removed the bearing there from the bottom, and I essentially just put it up in the front. So these engines still have the same amount of bearings, even though I removed one less component. But whatever. And this one, to get it to reverse, I just moved the timing light or whatever to the other side. But it has a weird effect where it makes the engine run a little bit slower because my engines aren't designed to run backwards. So I guess I could re-time it or something, then that would work. But either way, this is forward. They're both the same speed, just showing how it works. So now that the clutch is now engaged for forward, and then reverse. Notice how this one flipped over to the other side, and then this one, the gear from here, it pulled back into the output, and now we've got reverse. And this is how all my cars function. So they all have the same transmission. And what's really neat is I built the transmission kind of recessed into the motor, and it's 1, 2, 3, it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's only 10 blocks long, or 11, I guess, right there, because the piston goes extended. But when you're building vehicles, you want to compact everything as much as you can, and this is very compact. I may have one of these uploaded to my workshop already, but it's not this one. It'd be an older one I've made in the past. I used to call them Bulldog motors just because kind of how they looked, like this. So yeah, I did upload this one, and yeah, you can actually make these in vanilla as well. This is a vanilla version. You don't have to have modded, and it runs the same. So it pulls the arms out, and that's how it runs. This one, it's just as good. There's no problems with it, but obviously it looks a little bit more cluttery. It's nice when you clean things up. When you got mods, you can do that. So anyways, I'm going to show you the vehicles now. Now that you know how my drivetrain and engines work, I guess I might as well show you the other engine. I got one more engine that I do. This is for my heavy duty vehicles. I just doubled up on the pistons essentially, and it's just doubled the piston, so it's 2 blocks longer than the one over there, but it's double the power, so you won't have to worry about the motor locking up or anything under a high load. And I'm going to show you anyways. These motors, they're not weak at all. They're very strong. I'm going to get rid of this one as well. I'm just going to save that in case I don't know what all I have saved anymore. Sucks when you delete something and you go to find it and it's not there. I guess we'll look at this one first. So it's a tool drive pickup, independent front suspension with piston powered. This is the same exact chassis that was on the machine over there, and you can see I can pop the hood. There's the engine. Turn it on. It's running, and I use this one. The mouse buttons are what you use to go forward and backwards, so you just got to hold it down. But it's really neat. I use the gears mod to help with the differentials and the transfer cases that I use. Obviously, this is one of the slower settings, but you can make the cars go a little bit quicker. But I noticed when you go quicker, the engine's got so much freaking torque that it'll actually twist the whole thing. So it's like the left side of the car will be compressed. And you can kind of see when I take off the car, yeah. So I've been thinking about it. This is something I've been thinking about doing is putting some sort of like torque converter or something that reduces that initial torque. That way it's not torquing the whole vehicle down. Because, I mean, one thing too with these cars that I love to do is I've got a rock crawling course over there, and I like to use them for rock crawling. And obviously this one's only two-wheel drive, so you're not going to be doing any of that, but something different. So I'm going to delete that one. But anyways, it goes forward and reverse. It's just like a normal car, and they are slow. That's the limitation of piston engines, is you can't really get them to go fast unless you can, but they lag, and lag is probably the #1 problem in this game. So that's why when I build everything, I always try to make it as simple as possible. And there's no means this car is not simple at all. So I'll start this one up. This one is true four-wheel drive, locked front and rear differentials. So, and now in the future, I will chop this one down to a single cab as well, because I want to see this one. And this one, I lifted the body above the chassis by one block. That allows me to get these axles underneath. And I can put bigger wheels on this one as well, but it looks unproportionate to me. But it's really neat. It's got the little transfer case there on the motor. I forgot to paint those blocks. And I'll show you too. These when I build these cars, I make it really easy to remove. Like the body's only held in by 2 blocks, or the motor's held in by 2 blocks, and same thing with the bed. So you can actually modulate the whole car. But you can see this one torques down as well. See how the car like leans? Unfortunately, it takes a lot of bearings to make sway bars, so that's not something I'm going to look into doing. But one thing I could do is reduce the torque from the motor, because it's a little bit much. But it's not a really big problem. You can see the suspension working. And once again, this is only the axles have only got 1 block of travel up and down, which is more than enough in my opinion. Because I mean, unless you're like really rock crawling and you want those big like suspension traveling stuff, then you would want maybe something bigger. But just for making a truck that's semi-realistic, this is plenty fine. And one thing that's a big advantage of this car over other vehicles that people make that are like electric engines or gas engines is, one, it's got solid axles and they're completely like they can articulate, and they're locked together. So each wheel is fixed. This one can't spin individually of that one. That way there's no wheel slippage, and it's really cool because you're about to see these cars. They handle very well off-road. This one's long, so its downside is high centering, but I mean they're really good for rock crawling, like really good. And this is something I want to try to get more people into, but as far as I know, I'm the only one that actually does stuff like this. Um, oops, have to reset. Um, all right, just gotta watch the wheel placement. Once it grabs and it goes. It's unfortunate in Scrap Mechanic when something drags, it like grabs really hard. But you can see the front wheels are the only ones touching right now, and that's pulling the vehicle up. But as soon as the rear catch, it's gonna climb. Go, 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 go. I guess it would help if I took that massive thing out the back. I put that big weight in the back to help, because the rear body is kind of light. I don't need it. I'll just leave it in there. That is a pretty heavy block. But I'll show you in a second too how much these vehicles. It keeps pushing me that way, dude. Let's find a different spot. I think. No, I'm gonna show you. It's done it before. I'll do it again. If it wasn't for the God damn it. If it wasn't for that big weight in the back, I'm sure it would climb up just fine. If it doesn't do it this time, I'll take it out. Oh, there we go. So there's something. Nope, it's gone. And this is a high centering. It doesn't look like it is, but it is. The collisions of the rocks aren't perfect. There it goes. And obviously you can build a lot better trucks for off-roading than this. This is just, I'm just showing that it's capable of doing it if you just give it a little bit of chance. If I was gonna make this one like good for off-roading, like only, I would remove the bumpers or give it a better approach angle, I wouldn't make it so long. Alright, I'm gonna just take that thing out the back. It's being a problem. Alright, here we go. Go, 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 go. I don't know which way to go. Maybe I'll show you another car I made. I gotta watch time. I don't want to spend. I spend so much time doing this with my cars and testing and trial and error and stuff. It's so much fun. Um, so I get carried away with it over time. I wish that people made better rock crawling courses as well. Like this one, the only problem is that some of the rocks have really bad collisions, but it's not horrible. If I was to put bigger wheels on this one too, it would be a lot better as well. But anyways, yeah, this truck's really cool though. The fact that it's even doing this and not getting hung up too much is pretty neat. I mean, it's literally four-wheel drive piston car, you know. Who else does this? Like, and it looks good too, and it's fully functional and everything. I'd like to know if anyone else has even come close to doing anything like this, because as far as I know, no one else does this at all. I don't know why I'm lagging so much. Anyways, you get the point. That's this car though. So four-wheel drive, four-cylinder, crew cab truck. Yeah, this is my latest build right now, and then right now I'll show you some other ones. It's crazy how much friction can cause lag in this game. I wish it wasn't like that. And I guess I forgot to show how many bearings. This one and then the two-wheel drive truck have the exact same amount of bearings, I think. So I think this one's like 58 or something like that, or 65. So that's getting to my game like starts to lag it like when I get close to 70 bearings. So I don't know how everybody else's is doing, but I try to stay under 58 bearings if I can. Obviously, this one's more of a complex build, being it's got live axles front and rear, and it's four-wheel drive. But I'm gonna take it to the next level because I've actually built a 6x6. That's a bus. That's also really neat. This thing. This one's super cool. The neat thing about this one is I got the axles have got a output on it, and then it goes to another axle. So, and this one I always had the idea of driving it around with a bunch of people in my world and mess around, but unfortunately multiplayer is not the best thing. So here's the heavier motor. It's 8 pistons, but still a V4. It's pretty neat. And here you can look underneath and look at the axles and stuff. This is and it's got front diffs, and they're all locked as well. There's no open diffs, and this one's not laggy at all either. I would say that truck's a little bit more laggier than this one is, but I was really wanting to make a 6x6, but didn't know what to do on it, and I didn't want to just make a flatbed. You kind of need the whole vehicle to be kind of heavy to make use of it, but it's really, really cool. You can see the rears, how it works. And this one's really smooth. This one's more of a quick build. That's why it doesn't really look the best. It's just, also it does have reverse as well. Same exact transmission as the other builds. I've been using the same, once I perfected that transmission engine, I've used the same combo for everything, other than maybe changing a few things of how it looks, or I don't know, just little things, nothing major. It's all the same. So, and I can't really get it any better. I've already looked into how could I make it more compact, simple, or whatever, stronger, and there's really not much more to do to it because it really doesn't slip. If anything, before the transmission slips, the gears will. So like these rear ones, but that's a 6x6. And I don't know how everyone else is, but I'm really into trucks and semi trucks and stuff. Um, let's see this one. Here's another one. This one's laggy as hell. Another 6x6. This one's neat because it's got an offset front differential or axle. Uh, that way the motor can sit at a lower height. This one's really good for cab overs and stuff. This one's dualies and rears. Really cool. Also runs and drives. This one's just a frame. I realized how laggy this one was. Because instead of having the transfer case with the gear right above it, I just moved it to the side. That allowed me to get the gear right next to the motor or the drive shaft. And then the motor is tilted a little bit too. Because the motor initially, because the differential is not in the way, I can actually lower the motor on starting and then push it up a little bit. That's how I get all the drivetrain to be in line with each other. And then obviously this one's got U-joints and stuff. That way I can move it up a little bit if I need to. But the one I really wanted to show you is I built a semi truck that uses walking beam axle in the rear, like how some semi trucks use in the military. I think it's a 6x2. No. Oh, where is it? I need to start naming everything better. I hope I can find it. I build so much crap. I'm not even gonna be able to show you all the crap I'm building right that I have built. I'm just showing you the things that are on top of my mind. Main thing about this video I wanted to show it off is just where I'm at in building piston engines, and I'm just curious how other people are at the same spot. Obviously not, because when I look at the shop and I look up piston powered, there's really not a whole lot of things. I can call it semi, yes. Right here. I guess I'll show it without the bed. I made it with the bed, and then here's it with just the frame. This one's really, really cool because so there's these two axles, they articulate off of just this one bearing here and here. And there's suspension all around, so they can both independently articulate of each other. But no matter how much weight you put on here, and I'm gonna use like before, where is it? The block that's super heavy that the truck was struggling to get up the mountain with. These are super heavy. I kind of use these for a measurement of how heavy things are. But no matter how much of this you put on, the suspension is not gonna settle because it's relying on here. It's fixed. I think it might be able to squat a little bit, but it's just it doesn't work like that. It's like the Hemet trucks use in the military. So it just means that these axles they have a lot of travel and stuff because they're not the low shock here that's only has one block of travel. It's not limited to that. It can actually move as much as it wants based on that beam until it hits the frame or a bump stop of some sort. I'll just show you. These blocks are really heavy, so when I put all these on here, hopefully it gives some sort of understanding of how powerful these motors are. This one's only a 4-wheel drive in the rear. I could have made the front as well, but just for making it simpler and not as laggy. I think I painted that wheel. Ooh. All right. This one's a good for testing suspension over here. And there's logs over there, which I'll go over as well. This one's really capable for off-roading, at least just getting from A to B over any terrain. Just because the rear suspension, no matter what, they're in contact of the ground. and it's really cool because you can load it up with as much weight as you want, and they just kind of do their thing. It's really cool. Here you can kind of see how heavy it is. Um, Reverse sometimes gets stuck. I had to double up on so many gears to prevent it from slipping. But once again, those gears will slip before the transmission does, even reverse, which is crazy. So these are a little bit bigger logs. This truck should have better ground clearance, but I didn't really spend too much time doing bodies and stuff because I don't upload my builds anymore. I don't really spend too much time um, designing the bodies that much. So, but I'm curious if you guys want to see more of what I'm building and want to try it out for yourself. I might start thinking about uploading again, but I'd like to get maybe some feedback and kind of see what other people are doing. Sometimes my transmissions, they have a problem. When I spawn it in, one of the clutches will get stuck with the pistons, and then let's keep doing it. Why? When I say it's all the weight, because everything kind of has to. When you spawn something initially, it's got to snap everything back together into where I told the pistons to push it. This bumper might be a little too low for this one, but I know it can do it. Yes. So something's skipping. It's the gear. If it would just get over that first one, it would go. Maybe I'll just get rid of one. There it goes. You can see the beams walking. It's really, really cool. This is a real suspension that they use in real life. So I looked at it, understood it, and applied it to scrap mechanics. So something I really like doing, but like to share. I just want to share more of what I'm doing. Essentially, try to show all my builds and get more attention. I feel like if everyone took my knowledge and applied it to the stuff they built, not to just copy what I'm doing, but say, hey, they'll take the motor and then design their own chassis and stuff. And the same thing, I have a bunch of parts. This is something I kind of been wanting to do, is get other people into doing what I'm doing. That way, there's more of it around. So like axles, I have pre-built axles that I have. So like here's a through. This is what I use for the semis, input and output. There's a bunch of stuff. Mainly, this is my go-to. I call it axle start. It's got an input and then two outputs, and this is my go-to axle. And you can make him four-wheel drive or whatever. It's just a start. That way, you don't have to mess with the gears meshing and all this other stuff. And it only uses 5 bearings for a rear axle. Obviously, this is without coilovers and stuff. So just one thing. And then obviously when you pair that with my V4 engines that I build, then all you gotta do is put wheels on it and design the frame, and then it's yours. Here's one of the first ones I built a long time ago. This is before I was doing transmissions. But I mean, think of how compact everything's gotten now. Now I've gotten rid of the sides and everything. And then I even have a transmission that just sticks out a hair bit more. I would have never thought I've got to that point until now. But now I'm at a wall essentially. I don't really know what to build. I've already kind of done everything I wanted to. But I mean, this is essentially what I build. So yeah. So give me input or something. I'm not sure. I just kind of want to see where this goes. If people are actually genuinely interested in what I'm doing and want to try it out for themselves, maybe I'll put a link down or upload it to the shop, because these these I in the past I've uploaded and they've gotten popular, like really popular, and then I don't get any credit for it because people like to re-upload stuff, and doesn't feel good. So, anyways, just wanted to show some of my builds off. I guess that's it. Thank you.